been stuck in a rut lately? Welcome to In the Rut podcast with your hosts, Josh Merritt and Macy Davenport.
What is up, everybody? We actually substituted Macy Davenport in for the one, the only, Levi Coen. Levi, how you doing today?
I'm great, Josh. How you doing?
Not too bad. Today is the banquet day for the 2024 GNCC year. And figured we get in a little quick podcast before we head out the door. It's about an hour and a half drive to Kalahari. And, get some good talking in and see what kind of topics come up.
Yep, I'm here to probably disappoint the people when they watch this because they're used to looking at Macy all day. So give them something different to look at. Maybe a little less knowledgeable, but some fun stories along the way.
Yes. So let's dive into it. How was your 2024 season? Let's just start there, and then I think we can actually work to the past, possibly.
Yeah, I feel like we can go in the past. Sure, starting with 2024. Things were good. We started out, what was there, 5 of us in the house for the off season?
Yeah.
You, James, me, Wyatt, Aiden, Kenny. Was that it?
Yeah, that was it.
So, yeah, we went to Croom like we have been the last couple of seasons. Got some training in. Everything went well. It was probably the best off season we've ever had, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think it helped me and Wyatt, Kenny, all of us tremendously. I know I was complaining that I was completely sore every single day, leaving the workout just fully covered in sweat and exhausted, not wanting to go back the next day, but just putting the grind every single day. And I think that really made the start of our year. It started my confidence level just from the practice track, let alone to the first race, getting a second place, was absolutely on top of. I don't think I could have been any more confident, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the confidence goes a long way. And this offseason, with as many fast people and fit, motivated individuals as we had in one group, if you put in the work in the offseason, it's hard not to go into it confident. So, I mean, like you said, we did some things a little different, tried some different training techniques, practice days, did things a lot different, some more sprints than usual. Mm-hmm. Just everything we went into, we did 100%. So, when you're practicing like that, you're training like that, it's hard not to have a good season.
Definitely. And, I mean, I think we killed it for 2024, ending up, just me and Wyatt, 3rd and 4th in the year. Absolutely insane because we've said it 100 times. We were 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th place guys week in and week out. So to have, I think Wyatt had 7 podiums, I had 6.
Yep, sounds
and
right.
we both had a win this year. Yeah. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, to have, training programs, teams, all that aside, just to have two of the guys out of the same house over winter, 2 good buddies, to get that many podiums in a season. I mean, you only had 1 podium before this year, and Wyatt never had a podium. So to accumulate 13 combined podiums between the 2 of you in 1 year. And 2 wins when there hasn't been a new winner since, what was Hunter Hart the last new winner?
I think it was
4 years ago.
Hunter or Johnny, yeah, it was one of those 2.
Yeah, so, we haven't had a new winner in at least 4 seasons, and then nobody else won this year besides Bryson and Walker. So for 2 of the alternate wins to come out of the same house, same group, same team, same program of a winner is pretty amazing. You don't see that often.
Yeah, so why don't we talk about Outlier Performance real quick and kind of what you can do for the people. We might be cutting a little bit of corners here, but we're talking about it, but I would rather them know what it's all about. So just tell them what you do for us.
Yeah, so basically, everybody just different individual to individual. You see that. Right now, I think it's around 30 people we're with. So, and there's kids as young as 10 years old. And then I think the oldest guy I'm with is like mid-40s.
Okay.
So you can do – every program is individualized to you. If we have a few racers, it's nice. Like when you get guys like Josh, Wyatt, Kenny, people like that sort, you can get them together and train together to push each other. That's always awesome. But what we do is we get you organized. We get your plan laid out for the entire week to week, month to month, year to year, season to season, however long you stay on. And just so you don't got to second guess it, you know it's going to work. You trust it. You put in the work. You do what it takes, and you're going to get fit. You're going to get faster. And in the long run, it's going to be worth it. So.
And our saying really is, if you put in the work,
hard work works.
Yeah, hard work works. That's what it is. And it is very true. I mean, we have, some of the top guys on your program in every class. So it definitely is working, and I think everybody should at least give it a shot. I mean, it might not be for everyone, because a lot of people, man, it's hard for them to go to the gym or whatever, but I'm sure you can even make a program to be at home.
Yeah, I'd say realistically, ballpark half, 40% of the guys I work with, girls I work with, do all their training from home.
Okay.
So you can do, even if you can get a couple minor things like a jump rope, a medicine ball, a box, things like that, and you can do a ton from home. Even if you don't have those, we can make it work with body weights, runs. Usually somebody's got access to a spin bike or a bicycle for outside in the spring, summertime if you're in Ohio, because right now it's not really an option. But you can do a lot with a little, and that's what, some of the people who contact me, and it's just, they'll ask you, like, well, I don't got time to work out, but I want to. Or you'll run into so many people on a race weekend come up and like, hey, man, what can I do? I want to get on board, or I want to start working out, or I want to lose weight, or whatever factor it may be they're looking to gain. But they're like, oh, I'm just working so much I don't have time to work out. So how can I get fit without working out? Like, it doesn't work that way.
No.
And you know as well as I do, you have time.
Yeah.
I don't care how busy you are. I work with some guys that work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. One of my best friends back home works 7/12s right now. And he's in the gym every day. Yep. So, if you want to make it happen, you will make it happen.
There's more than 12 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So if you want to make it happen, you'll make it happen.
Yeah.
I agree. Getting to the gym, putting in a half hour to an hour of work is all it takes. And hopefully your gym isn't an hour away, or just do it at home and get that work put in, and you stay consistent. That's really the goal here. And I think now I'm going on year 3 with you?
Yeah.
Or is it 4?
I think the solid, complete year 3.
Okay.
But on and off, you and I have been training together for 5-6 years.
Yeah,
but
forever.
Yeah.
So, I think consistency is key when it comes to training with you. It's not going to happen overnight.
No.
And people they need to understand that me and Wyatt was not an overnight success. It was multiple years of failing.
Yep.
And then getting our bodies in shape, and then kind of putting all the puzzle pieces together. And it took us, halfway through the year, I got my first win, and then he got his first win. So it's like, it just takes time.
I was wondering which direction he was going to go.
Go the other way, Tonka. Hold on, I'm going to help him.
For the viewers at home, we got a wild Tonka in here. I'm trying to get through. There he goes.
He's like, I want to be with the guys.
See you, Tonka.
So.
Yeah, but like you were saying, it doesn't happen overnight. And I think nowadays with I'm going to sound like an old guy now, but the kids these days, everybody wants an overnight success. They want that gratification right now.
Yep.
And that doesn't work that way.
No.
And that's what almost anybody I work with, it doesn't matter if it's a C-class racer, a youth kid, a woman, a pro. I tell them, I'm like, you can't put in a week's worth of work, 2 weeks worth of work, and expect to go to the next race and be ready.
Yeah.
And I was like, and on the same hand, you can't they put in a couple weeks worth of work, and it's not easy.
No.
And you don't
still racing.
Yeah, you don't throw them into the deep end with the workouts right off the bat. But say if you have a hard workout 2 weeks in, a lot of people will just fold up and be like, I can't do this. This is too hard. Blah blah.
Yep.
And you can speak to the stuff's. It is hard.
It is.
But if you stick to it, it doesn't get easier, but you get better.
You get better.
And you're gonna have a hard day here or there, and makes you not want to do it anymore. But that's where the hard work pays off. So you stick in it. 2 weeks from now, you're gonna be a different person. A month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, it's gonna be unrecognizable, the difference. So
definitely.
It's just you got to look long term. You can't look in tomorrow. You got to look 6 months from now.
And it's kind of crazy. Me and Wyatt definitely take a different approach. I ride throughout the week.
Yep.
And Wyatt races on the weekends. He maybe will ride once.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out what works best for you in that situation, because you have to be on the four-wheeler too. So
Agreed, yeah.
if you're not doing anything but working out, yes, you're still going to be better than if you did nothing. But if you get those couple days of either you race on the weekend in between GNCCs, or you get to just, ride around the yard for a half hour and just get a feel of the quad, any time on the quad is a good time. And then it will all, at some point, hopefully all that hard work will pay off.
Exactly. Yeah, you guys keep grinding. And I mean, obviously it takes a ton to get to where you're at.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of years of racing, a lot of years of training. You can need the right people around you. You need all that, the right mindset. So, I mean, it's a lot, but if you really want something bad enough, I mean, you can make it happen. It's not for everybody, obviously, but you try hard enough. You're going to get to at least a high level. You're going to get to a good A-class racer, a good Pro-Am racer. Not everybody's going to be a pro, but you can get out of those B-class, C-class, those rankings for sure.
Definitely. I think everybody knows, has a goal. I think it's reachable if you put in the work, but sometimes life or just even your bike can hold you back a little bit. So if you don't make it, it's just part of it, man. But that's the fun part, the push, the stressing at night. Hey, is the quad ready to go? Is the gear all packed? Do I have fuel? All that kind of stuff. Is my body fully hydrated? Is it fully performing to its 100%? And that's just a whole nother, class of racing that people don't even think about. And that's what I want to bring to light by talking to you.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. And that's, I think, a lot of the people, the outsiders looking in, who aren't like in the inside like we are quite as much. Some people may know, but I think a lot of them look from like the younger kids, youth racers, the beginners, that sort of thing. They look in and they're like, oh, the pros got it so easy. They just show up, they race, they got mechanics at the track, their bikes are prepped, they got teams paying for this stuff. Mm-hmm. And being on the other side of it, that's not the case. Obviously, you have a great mechanic, you got a great team behind you, you got great people around you. But that doesn't happen overnight, and it's still, with those people around, you got to put in a ton of work. Not training aside, your stuff during the week, your maintenance you do on your own bikes, your practice bikes, the travel, the food, everything Macy does for you, your parents, your sister, Jake, everybody. So there's it's not like plug and play like a lot of people, I think, imagine when we were kids, you're looking at the top pros at the time, Chris and Adam, and the guys who were at the top of the sport on the teams and everything. I mean, we just thought they show up, they race, and they go home, and that's all there is to it. But it's so much deeper than it appears on the surface level.
100%. And, I to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way, because it created who I am today. And, putting in the work, having those years of not performing to my best has motivated me now later in my career to be like, hey, I was battling for a number 3 spot. And, I've been number 11 4 times, number 10, number 6, number
14,
20, 13. Yeah. So it was a bunch of years of failures. And I wouldn't say they were failures. They were learning points. So, and all that built up to the last 2 years of getting a 5th, getting a 4th, getting my first win, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I wouldn't have it any other way. Just putting in that work, and I love being in shape now, working out through you. It's obviously you make it way easier, because I look at my phone, I see what I have to do, and I get to work. So I'm not guessing. I'm not doing any of the research stuff other than if I don't know what a movement is, I type it in on YouTube real quick, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
That's huge, and I wish I had that when I was still racing. And nowadays it's getting more common to have a trainer involved, somebody of knowledge. But like you just said, look at your phone, your computer, whatever it is you're going off of for that week, and you see, oh, Monday I got this run, this amount of miles for this time. Tuesday I go in the gym, I do this, and so on throughout the week. As long as you trust who you're working with and you trust the process, there's no second guessing. You go in, you do what it says, you go home, and you're on your way. When you go to the gym, say even if you want to put that full effort in that it takes, you go in there, if you don't know what you're doing in the gym, your person never been in the gym, even if you are somewhat knowledgeable, but not to the degree you need to be. When you get there, you're like, okay, so I just came in the gym today and I did 500 push-ups and ran 10 miles. You're putting in a lot of work. That's hard work. That's not sustainable. So you do that every day, you're going to run yourself into the ground. So there's balance. It's not just about killing yourself every day. And then there's somebody might be, because there's a lot of guys I've worked with, they're like, man, I work so hard. I do this, this, and this. And they think they're killing it. And then they come for one gym session and they're in there and they're like halfway through and they're on their knees. They're wanting to throw up and stuff. And I'm like, man, this is like an average Tuesday for us. So if you've been killing it, you got a long way to go. But if you're at that point and you're willing to put in the work, you'll get there.
Yep.
And you can speak to that. I mean, there's days there's plenty of obviously we have the type of relationship it's sustainable to have arguments, and then 10 minutes later we're fine and joking.
Yep.
But there's plenty of times where you've wanted to hit me in the gym, I've wanted to hit you, and we're arguing and we're yelling at each other. But
100%.
No matter how mad you get, you always do the work.
Yes.
So as long as you're willing to do the work, you're willing to suffer. And then other days you'll go in there and like you'll do workouts, we'll be together, or if we're not together, you'll text me and be like, that was easy, dude. Is this like a cool down day or something like that? So it's not,
Yep.
you have good days, you have bad days, but they all average out. So
Definitely.
Yep.
And well, that's Outlier Performance, guys, right there. He couldn't have said it any better. It's a grind. Some days suck, some days are awesome, but if you put in the work, it will work. And I think everybody should. I mean, if you don't end up going with Outlier Performance, you need to get under some kind of program, because if not, the guys that are just going to be years ahead of you.
Yep.
Years.
You nailed it.
And I tell everybody, hey, if you're not winning and you're not training, you're not going to have a different. You do the same thing, you're not going to get a different outcome. So you need to try something different. I mean, it's plain and simple.
And one last thing on the training, I'm sure we'll touch on it later, but there's one, it just made me think of when you said that. There was somebody came up to me, I don't remember who it was, or I don't want to say names, but we were at a race not long ago, and it was somebody, it was one of the top pros at a local race, and they did good. They might have even won the race, or they got second or something, and the guy was asking me, they're like, oh man, he looks cooked after this race. Is he not fit? And I think who they were referring to was like Alex Tiemann, and I think Adam won the race. It was a local.
Okay.
And they're like, man, but he was close to Adam. He was pushing him around, whatever. They had a good race at Fast Tracks, and they're like, is Alex out of shape? And I was like, no. If there's two ways to look at it, but if no matter how good a shape you're in, unless you're winning, you should be leaving it all out there on the track.
I agree.
Even if you are winning, but I mean, that's the only excuse you'd have. Like if you cross the finish line and I'm not saying you got to be completely smoked, panning, dying for breath, but if you're second, third, fourth, whatever place you want to put up besides winning, you should be leaving everything you got out there. So it doesn't matter if your fitness is a 5 out of 10, you should be tired. If your fitness is a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10, put whatever number you want on it. If you're putting in the proper effort it takes on race day and digging like you should, you're going to be tired. And you can tell, I mean, you're more fit right now last season than you've ever been in your life.
For sure.
You're still coming off the track. It's not like a walk in the park.
No.
So effort is everything, because you can be the most fit guy on the track and you can still be a C-class racer, or you can still be getting 10th in the pro class, because when you get out there, you're not willing to dig like it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Things get hard. You break down mentally. So, yeah, just want to touch on that. Just because you're tired at the end of the day doesn't mean
You're out of
you're out of shape. Yeah.
Yep. And I actually, to even go further into it, because, let's just keep going on it. I actually found out at the beginning of the year, the southern rounds, they're not as rough, I don't think, as the northern rounds. And I come off the track not as tired, but that's because my fitness is so strong, like so up there, that I could not push my quad fast enough.
Yeah.
And if I did, I would have wrecked. So it's like you almost have to find a balance at some point
Exactly,
of, okay, I know what my body can do for 2 hours, but I can only go this fast unless, I was running, let's just say big buck first round. I was second place. If I would have tried to push DeBryson's speed, I probably would have wrecked. But at my speed, I knew I was going to make the full 2 hours and be fully confident that I could push if someone did catch me.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, and that takes a high racer IQ.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't say that, but you've done it so long, you know the pace you can go before, oh crap, I'm going to start blowing corners. Oh crap, I'm going to catch this kicker and crash. you know what you're capable of and your bike's capable of on that day.
Yep.
So yeah, like you said, there's so much that goes into it.
I love it.
It's more than just getting on your four-wheeler and holding like the kids in school. You remember the kids in school? They're like, "What do you do? How are you in shape?" The football kids are like, "You just sit on a four-wheeler and press the gas."
Yep.
They're like, "All right, buddy, come try it." That's how it works.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think every racer loves that saying, and be like, "All right, yeah, you know what? I actually have 3 4-wheelers. You and your buddies want to get on them and race me and see how it actually is."
Yeah.
And they either don't make it around the track or they never show up because they never show up.
Exactly.
But God, yeah. So that's kind of that's Outlier Performance there.
Yep.
And sign up, man. Levi's taking on new clients this year. Yep. Already had some bigger names pop up and hopefully sign up and in really fast classes. So it's exciting 2025 for everyone, I think.
Yeah, I think we got a big year ahead. All the Outlier guys, and I mean, we're spread out the youth ranks, the morning 4x4 guys, and all through the afternoon. So top A riders, top pros, top 4x4 pros, top youth riders. So
oh wow,
I think it'll be a good year. I mean, for us aside, but moving into your next season as well. I mean, we keep doing what we're doing. We keep building. There's no reason you shouldn't be winning more races, right?
Definitely, that's the goal. I normally wait till New Year's to write my goals down for 2025. I had my 2024 goals. I came up short, I think, on 2 of my racing goals. Actually, 3. I wanted to be number 3, which, guys, I was number 5. I had 1 podium at the time when I wrote these goals down. I wanted number 3 in the championship. I wanted 2 or 3 hole shots and 2 wins, and I got 1 win. I think I put down I wanted 6 podiums, which I got.
Yep.
And I only got 1 hole shot, so kind of sad, but
almost
I put
two.
those.
Jared got the
the
credit,
Jared
but
got the credit.
Almost 2.
Even Walker said I got it on the podium, but nevertheless, I come up short, but I put those goals out there to push myself, and I was so close to getting number 3. I was 4 points out of that, and the starts are the starts. That's fine. That's only gonna just make me better week in and week out. But the podiums, like having 1 podium and then saying, "Hey, I want to get 6," is absolutely insane.
It is insane, but I mean, at the where you guys are at, if you're wanting to win races and podium, you almost kind of have to have a little bit of irrational, delusional, whatever word you want to put on it, self-confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe you're going to do it, how do you expect me to believe it? How do you expect Macy to believe it? How do you expect anybody else around you to be like, obviously, we preach to you. I mean, you and I talk almost daily.
Yep.
I mean, 4 or 5 days a week minimum for 10 years now. So we tell you constantly, but if you don't really believe it deep down, how do you expect it to happen? So, like I said, you almost have to be a little bit delusional. I wouldn't go as far as arrogant, but your self-confidence has to be super high to expect that out of yourself, as it should if you're in the pro class. Yeah. Everybody who's lining up in the pro class, I know they don't. Where we won't say names, but I can name you half or more of the pro class that goes to the starting line and never believes they're going to get on the podium. They're just there to go through the day.
Yep.
And if you're doing that,
to be honest with you, I was that guy.
Yeah.
For 10 years probably. I don't know how long I've actually been in the pro class. It might have been 10 years this year. Yeah. But I would say 8 of those 10 years, I was like, all right, well, I know Chris and Walker and Adam and all those guys are going to probably be on the podium. Hopefully I can just follow them for as long as possible.
And squeeze in an 8 to 10 finish.
Yes. And that's, sorry for interrupting you, but
I was
that guy, and, putting in the work and then gaining the confidence in the off season or at a low, anything. Like if I was keeping up with someone for longer periods of time in conditions like sand, I sucked at sand my whole pro career. And last year I was like, oh man, I'm flying. Yeah. So.
Yeah, there was obviously through the winter, I mean, I was hands-on, so I'm getting to see you every day in the gym, on the track, doing your lap times. I could see how fast you were going, and I remember me and Matt Pierce had a hotel before the night before the race, and we were getting ready to go to sleep, and he was like, pick your podium for tomorrow. And obviously, I think I picked you, Wyatt, and I think B. Neal for third, or Walker is vice versa, one of those. And Matt's obviously your good friend as well, but Matt's like, I think you're a little biased. And I'm paraphrasing, but something like that.
Yep.
He's like, I think Josh is going to do really well too, and Wyatt, but he's like, I think you might be a little biased. You've been around him all winter. He's one of your best friends. And I was like, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And we had a bet on it, and then the next day you came out and you got second pretty much by yourself. I mean, there was a good gap to third. Bryson was out, but yeah, and then afterwards Matt came over. He's like, I guess you're right. He's like, but so yeah, but anyway, what you were saying, the improvements in the sand is you weren't that great in the sand a few years ago.
No.
Now this year you came out in Florida and you got almost on the podium, fourth, right behind Hunter, Hunter's one of the best sand riders in the country.
Yep.
And then you came out at Camp Coker, you were sick, you had food poisoning, and you still got on the podium. Yep. So I mean, if that doesn't show drastic improvements, and you have to believe you can improve, you have to want to improve, you got to put in the work to improve, and you did all those things. So now, and results build confidence. So now next year going to Florida, next year going to Camp Coker, there's no reason you should go in there thinking about anything but winning the race.
For sure.
So,
and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. And, I'm going to use those sand rounds as, hey, I know I got these guys here. Like, it might be Bryson and Walker that are absolutely freaks in the sand.
Yep.
But if I can keep up, with them for as long as possible, I'm leaving everybody else in the dust.
Exactly.
So that is my goal. And I know I'm going to not maybe get more points on people there, but I'm using it almost as a crutch. As, okay, if let's just say I have a bad first race or something, and then we go to Florida, I know I'm going to gain a couple points or confidence from being in a better position there. And if I battle Hunter again, this year, I'm still happy because the dude's been down there since Iron Man.
I mean, he lives in Florida 10 months a year.
Yeah.
Or 9 months a year, whatever it is. For 4 or 5 years now. So.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's good in it. He's not just down there hanging out.
Yeah.
He's good. So.
And he puts in the work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2025, man, I'm really excited about that. And it's going to be an interesting year. I have a lot of things changing that I still haven't told anybody about. A lot of things still aren't even fully done.
Finalized.
Yeah, finalized. So it's a lot of in the air still, and I'm hoping after the banquet, which is literally tonight, I'll have more answers and kind of go off of that, because about, 2 weeks from now, we'll be down south.
Yeah, right at the first of the year.
First of the year.
That's the plan. So.
Yep. So lots of work to be done here soon, and lots of deals to finalize. So
a lot to do in a little amount of time.
Yeah. And also have all the holidays and get all that stuff done.
Yep.
It's a lot on the plate, but I already started working out. We talked about that a little bit. Started probably 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah, nearing a month now. We've been back at it.
Yeah, for a full month.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, I've been eating really good, and I feel good. So going down south, I'm gonna be in a little bit better shape than just coming off the couch like I did last year and making Levi mad because I was so sore. And I was like, I can't ride. Like, literally, I'm working out, but then I can't ride. So this year, I'm like, all right, I just come in a little bit more in shape, and then the workouts won't be as demanding on my body that I can actually still put in the riding effort, which, I obviously did good enough last year for being sore. I think this year is just going to be a bonus. So, very excited for 2025.
Yep, good things ahead.
So you said you have questions, or
you want the trivia questions now?
The trivia questions. I want to hear what your trivia questions. Oh, you wrote them down too.
I got them on my phone, so I don't forget them. Yeah, guys, you can play along at home, answer them as we go. We'll give you the answers as we roll with them, but
I don't know the answers.
Josh doesn't. These questions are for him. So, all right. You want to get right into it?
Let's go.
All right. So, how many rounds in 2024 were swept by Ohio racers for the overall ATV podium?
Oh man, I think it's I think it was all of them.
It wasn't all of them. You want to guess?
Hunter got Florida, so 12 out of 13.
9 out of 13.
9 out of 13. Who else?
You know the ones that weren't? Florida, Snowshoe. Hunter was on there again at Snowshoe. and we had a wild card at
Ronnie Rush.
Ronnie
PA,
Rush. Yep. But then there was a wild card at Ironman Coleslaw,
Cole,
which he's
PA.
borderline. He's like a rock from Ohio.
He is in Ohio, actually.
Well, now he is, but
Yeah,
he's still
from-
listed in the results as Pennsylvania.
Yep.
We know he's a Pennsylvania guy, but he can even from his old house, he could basically look out his window and see Ohio.
Yes, definitely.
So those were the rounds.
That's pretty cool to think. Ohio dominated.
And even on the rounds where they didn't sweep, I think that all of them they still had 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
So I think bare minimum 2 out of 3 Ohio racers on
Yep.
13 out of 13 podiums.
Yeah, because it was either me or Wyatt, and then Bryson and Walker, and like sometimes we had top 4 locked up.
Yeah, quite. I mean, there was a lot of races actually where top 4 were Ohio racers.
Why do you think that? Why do you think Ohio is a dominant? Ohio, Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania obviously is a dominant state. Also, do you think it's our local series are better?
I think I was actually thinking about this on the drive to your house yesterday. There's a ton of fast racers from Ohio, dirt bikes and quads, even motocross as well. There's a ton like on the dirt bike side of things. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what you can put to it besides good local series.
Yeah.
We have, I mean, there's the A-Work series, Fast Track series, OXCR, JXC now.
CRA.
CRAs. There's a
E-Rock.
ton. E-Rock, yeah. I mean, there's a ton of Wexers. I'm sure there's more we're forgetting, and we just listed off like 7. So if you want to race in Ohio, at least 10, 11 months out of the year, you can race every weekend.
Oh, you can race
Most
multiple
weekends,
times
2 times a weekend, yeah. But like I don't know, there's a ton. I mean, just along the pro class alone, how many racers are from Ohio? And the pro-am class, there's a ton of them. And then a lot of them that don't live there still train in Ohio quite a bit, like John Jr. and James and those guys. They spend a lot of time in Ohio. So
definitely, I feel like Ohio is just like almost the like center point of of ATV racing, and it kind of funnels around from West Virginia, Indiana, Pennsylvania,
all the surrounding
and then you
areas.
have like your southern like
Mid-East crew,
Mid-East, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and and then obviously you have the Florida guys, and that's it.
I mean, there's probably a way we could look this up, but how many years has Ohio won the GNCC, the award they give for most championships from state? I feel like it's always Ohio, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
It's almost never anybody else. Not that there's Indiana has a ton of fast racers, but as a whole, it's all, I mean, going into it, we're always like, oh, who's going to win this year, Ohio or Pennsylvania? And it's almost always Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to think about and just realize. I mean, like you said, Indiana has a bunch of fast people, but it almost seems like they stick to their like they stick to their own state. They have 2 series, and they're
they got 2 big series,
Two big
IXCR
series.
and what's the other, Max C, is that the other one, or MWXC, something like that?
MWXC, I think. And it is a lot farther of a drive for them, so I completely understand. But like, if they even came out, like some of the top racers from there, I would like to see. I'm sure a lot of them do, but even more. The competition at a GNCC and see what their championship at the end of the year, how many numbers they have to Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, all that kind of stuff. So very cool. All right, next question.
Ready for another one?
Yes.
All right. Our good friend Johnny Gallagher, what was his best ever national number in the total number of brands he raced professionally?
Oh,
GNCC.
man. That's like a double question. So, best overall number. Oh, man, I just wore a shirt the other day.
He had this number twice.
I would have to guess it was 6.
Close. 7.
7?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I know when I got 5th, he said he's never had number 5, but I thought he had 6. That makes sense. And for brands, you said how many different brands
Did he race in the pro class?
So I know he raced a Honda.
Yep.
I know he raced a Polaris.
No Polaris.
Oh, that was his dad.
Yeah, that was his dad.
So a Honda, Yamaha. Did he ride a Suzuki or Kawasaki?
One of the two.
I'm gonna have to guess Suzuki then.
He did ride. As much as we would have liked him to ride a cow, he rode a Suzuki. But this is a crazy fact. He rode 3 different brands in the XC1 Pro class, but he rode 7 different machines, he says. 250R from Honda, a Honda 400EX, a Suzuki 400, a Honda 450, a Suzuki 450, and 2 different model YFZs,
Holy
the carb and the fuel
smokes.
injected. Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. I have some, let me pull them up. I have some other, while we're on the topic. I texted Johnny to get the answers to those questions, and
Yeah.
he gave me a whole bunch of other random facts yesterday if you want to hear them.
Do it.
Where was it? Where did we go here? So his best national number, like we said, was number 7. He earned it twice in 99 and 2013. And he says he's earned every number from 7 to 20, most of them 3 times. So he's had every national number from number 7 to number 20. And like you said, almost every one of them 3 times. Isn't that a crazy fact?
That is crazy.
And he said the number 7 was his favorite national number he ever ran until 2017 when he won the race with number 13. He said then that changed. Now 13 is his favorite number. He said most people think it's unlucky, but now it's his.
You go to the casino with Johnny Gallagher, he's putting $100 on 13 on the roulette table, and I swear I watched it hit. He's hit multiple times, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Lucky number 13.
So, okay, you ready for the next question?
Yes.
How many current active ATV GNCC racers have won a ATV overall in the pro class?
Oh, that's gonna be easy. We got Jared, Adam, Chris, Hunter, me, Wyatt.
You're forgetting a big one.
A big one. Bryson. That makes sense.
Another big one.
Another big one. Trying to think of who's in the pro class right now. Wait, who do I have again? I have Jared, Adam, Chris, me, Wyatt, Walker.
There you go.
Did I forget Walker?
You didn't. You left him out the first time.
Now I'm forgetting someone else because I'm back at the same number.
You didn't say Chris this time around.
Chris. That's gotta be it, right?
8. 8's the answer.
There's 8.
Yeah. I didn't write the names down when I looked this up, but I don't know if I was counting Cole or not.
Oh.
So I might have counted Cole since he raced this year.
Yeah.
But I don't think I did. So I don't know who the other one would have been. But yeah, 8's the answer.
Wow. That's pretty wild.
And okay, we'll go on the next one.
Think of first off, there's not that many people that have won a race in ATV
That's what I was thinking.
history.
So
Because
that's 8 current.
Chris and Walker kind of have like 120 wins in the last 8 years.
I think it's more than that. It's almost 140, isn't it?
I think 70.
Or something like that.
How
Yeah.
many do they have? 70 or 60?
I thought it was 70. Could be 60.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
130, 140 combined wins between the 2 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then you just get like a couple of pokes in there
And
from
Bryson's got like 26, 27. I think Adam's got low 20s.
Adam has that many. Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
I think he's right around 22 when I looked at the list.
That's pretty.
You
that's
got to
pretty
think those
close.
KTM years, he reeled off a lot of wins.
Yeah, he did. That first year on KTM, the
I think he got like 5 straight.
25. Yeah, he almost won that championship.
And then, okay. Who was the first ever GNCC racer, bike or quad, to win a overall from Pro-Am, and do you know the year and track?
From Pro-Am. Bike or quad? That's going to be difficult because I don't know anything about dirt bikes. Was it KR 557?
No. Well, actually, we'll tell you, the first dirt bike from Pro-Am didn't win an overall until this year. So they're irrelevant. This was the first year ever, and Toth did it, and then Grant Davis did it twice, I think.
Yeah, so I would have to guess it was Walker Fowler then, right?
Nope.
What?
Walker was the second.
Walker was the second?
He's a
has to be
he's a
Josh
good friend
Kirkland.
of ours. No, Kirkland never did it.
Brian Wolf.
Brian Wolf.
Yep. Old
You know where he did it?
snowshoe.
Yeah, 2009, and he did it again in 2010 from Pro-Am.
And he won 15 grand or
10 grand a pop, so 20.
That is so
BW.
crazy. He is the man. That's awesome.
Do you know, speaking on that, do you know when Walker won his first afternoon overall?
I know he got followed by his teammate, his Florida teammate, Kaiser. Got pushed into the finish line for the overall.
He did it from Pro-Am.
Yeah, from Pro-Am. He
Yeah.
caught Kaiser, and then Kaiser pushed him in. I know it's a southern round.
No.
It's not a southern.
Opposite.
What?
Yeah.
John Penton.
No.
Oh,
Unadilla.
that makes sense.
Unadilla, 2011.
2011.
Yeah, he was number 7 at the time on a balanced Yamaha.
I remember that part. I don't remember. I guess I just watched Unadilla again.
Yeah. I think that might have been like the year when he was like fist pumping over the sky shot. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was the first one, I think, to hit that thing.
I'm sure, yeah.
That was crazy. I hit it once.
I hit it once also.
Maybe twice. My dad told me not to.
Yeah.
But I did
I blew my hands clear off the bars when I landed as well, because I landed right on the crest. That's when it was still big, though. Dude, the last couple years, it was like mellow.
Yep.
But when we were doing it, it was still really big.
Yeah.
And we landed right on that crest. And you remember Amy McConnell from the she's got a picture I have to pull up somewhere with like my head going down and my hands blowing off right on the downside of this guy's shot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I bent my axle on it. But I landed it normal. I think I just was running a stock axle at the time.
Yeah. And for an XC bike, that's a big huck.
Yeah. Yeah, especially I had no idea what my suspension was set at those days. But wow, those are some freaking. Is that all the questions?
That was all of them. Yep.
I didn't make questions because I was thinking different questions than that. But yeah, those were some good questions. Well, I guess I can ask one of my questions. Do you miss racing GNCC at a high level?
Yeah, on certain days I do. I'm sure you know how it is when you go to a track and it's looking like really sick and the dirt's nice and it's like perfect conditions. You're like, man, I'd like to be out there.
Yep.
But at the kind of training I do nowadays, I would have to change everything completely to get back into I'm still fit, but it's I do a lot more lifting, a lot more bodybuilding, powerlifting kind of stuff. So to get back in the shape I would need to be, I could obviously do it in a matter of 6 months, obviously, to get to top racer shape.
Yep.
And I don't really I'm at a different point in my life to where I want to focus on different goals.
Yeah.
So that aside, if I could just flip a switch and be back in racer body on weekends, 100%, I would love to still race.
Definitely.
But on the muddy days and the shitty days and it's really cold and I'm no, I'm happy sitting in here in the trailer in the heater. So I don't know, but there's certain tracks like Ironman this year. I love Ironman. I love that track. And even when I quit racing afternoon and started riding Sportsman, it was still, I had a blast. And even this year, I think I told you, I was like, man, I wish you brought your local bike to this one, because you offer it all the time to me for the Sportsman race. You're like, you want to race my bike tomorrow? And I always say no. And that one, I was like, dude, I wish you brought your bike because the track looks so sick out here.
Yep.
So, there's days when you get the itch. But, this year was the least amount of racing I've ever done since I started. But usually I still race a decent amount of locals in the summer.
Yeah, we raced a few times together.
Yeah, we did. And then when I go out there, I'm like, I'm good for a few laps, and then my arms pump up. And then I'm like, why am I out here? Because it's hard because – you know how it is. Even when you're off the bike for a long time, you hop on, you know how to go the speeds, and mentally you know how to do it. But when you stay off the foiler for so long, your reaction time changes.
Goes away, yep.
Your line choice changes. Your sense as a racer changes. So it's like, man, I used to beat this guy by this, and now he's just putting it to me. What's wrong? And then that kind of kills the enjoyment for it every now and again. But
makes sense.
I still like riding a four-wheeler, though, yeah.
That's good. But you get, let's just say, you get a lot of enjoyment now seeing me, Wyatt, Kenny, everybody that you train, texting you at the end of the race. I had the best race of my career or something like that. Yeah,
and I think, since I've quit racing full time, I've still been at I think I've missed maybe 4 nationals since 2012. So I'm still, I'm still at every race.
Definitely.
And like you said, you guys doing good. That feels good for me too. So that's the next closest thing to racing to get that feeling, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Seeing you and Wyatt win races or whoever it may be on the podium, if James or Kenny or somebody gets a pro-am podium that day, it's cool to see. Or Alex or Jeremiah, somebody doing good like that. That's awesome, and it makes it worth it. Mm-hmm. You still want to be out there, but that, I think I told you there was probably a time throughout the summer where I was like, man, I don't even want to be going to the races anymore. But you're doing so well right now. That's the only reason I'm still coming to these things. You and Wyatt watching everything go smooth. So, yeah, you still get, I don't know, secondhand adrenaline rushes or something. Because there's,
definitely.
Obviously, when you're out there fighting for a podium or win, or, St. Clairsville, when you and Wyatt were, going at it on the last lap.
Definitely.
We're all super excited in the pits, but then you're like, you're nervous. You're like shaking almost for you guys because you can't control anything out there.
Yep.
It's all you guys, and we're just like waiting to see who's going to pop out of the woods first. And yeah, I mean, you still get a lot of enjoyment from just watching, but it's not the same, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense for sure,
Yeah.
and I understand that because when Macy came to a few races and she wanted to race, I took like the day off or whatever. Like I obviously ride throughout the week, and I was like, hey, you know what, you go race, I'll just be your pit guy. And just watching her have fun and making sure she has fuel, making sure she has goggles, and running around the track. And I had a blast kind of doing that part of it too. So I completely understand. And I know families and friends that support other racers. It's very stressful because
it is stressful. Yeah.
Other than getting them goggles, hand towels, or fuel, you have
no control
at all. And it's absolutely crazy to be on the edge of your seat, either watching the live or listening to the broadcasters on the speakers and being like, oh my gosh, like this is absolutely crazy. And obviously for anyone else out of pro or pro-am, they're just waiting to pop up, see them for 10 to 15 seconds and then be like, all right, see you in a half hour.
See you in a half hour. Good luck.
Yep.
Yeah, it is, I mean, and it is stressful being, because like this year, I think I ran your dump can most of the races, your fuel can for people at home. And there was one race, I can't remember if it was St. Clairsville or if it was Tennessee. You were on obviously you're 1-1, you're on the podium the other, and you didn't take much fuel at that race. And I was running the can then, but you only took like half, maybe 3/4, but I want to say half as much as you usually do. And I was stressing so bad those last two laps. I was like, if he runs out of fuel right now, and this is my fault, I'm going to lose my mind. So I remember asking Macy, and I think Kara was at the race where it happened, so it was probably St. Clairsville. I was like, how much fuel did we were like looking at Austin's can, and everybody else used like less than normal too. So I was like, okay, we're good. And then when you came to the finish line, I was like, because I was stressing so hard those last two laps. I was like, if he runs out of fuel right now, I'll never hear the end of this.
I wouldn't have been mad. I just would have been like, you know what? Wasn't meant to be today. We'll get it again tomorrow or next race. So, that's fun. And I understand completely. Hi, Tonka.
I don't get it.
What are you doing, bud? But, yeah, 2024, man, that was something else just with all the podiums, especially you. Like, I like you being a part of it because when you give me gas, you literally tell me, hey, at Ironman, he's like, the leader's right there. You got this win. And I literally, I'm so focused on, getting out of the pits. I never looked up till you said that, and I see Cole and I think Steven was in front of me at the time.
I think it was Cole Steven.
And I was like, oh, my God, they are right there. I'm not out of this. And, one lapper or something could have changed that race. Sadly, I had a little bit of bad luck happen to me, and I went backwards. But just to have you and Macy and Kara and, if Rick shows up, just the support in the pits is next level. Making sure I have gloves, goggles, whatever I need, and
helmet.
I love doing a helmet change in the mud races.
Having, obviously, it's like we keep preaching all the little things, but just having somebody even tell you as little as what position you're in.
Yeah.
No matter what class you're in, but I think it was St. Clair's when all the chaos happened. You were unsure, and Macy was out there on the track, or I think it was Macy, and she told you what position you were in, and I was in the next section to let you know. And you're like, after the race, you're like, I'm glad you guys are out there because I had no idea I was leading this thing, and it kind of kicked you in the butt to get a sense of urgency to get going a little bit more. Not that you weren't already, but you're leading the race. It's going to give you a little extra motivation.
Yeah, and I still remember. We'll always remember that race like it was yesterday. And when I caught a bottleneck, and it was Jared, Wyatt, and then me, and I asked Wyatt, literally, I think we had our quads off, because that's how long we were waiting. I was like, hey, Wyatt, what place are you in? He's like, when I went through the finish line, I was in third, but Bryson and Walker are up there somewhere. And I think he said fourth. So he's like, I think I'm in second if they don't get through. And I was like, I was just in sixth. And so I went from sixth to third pretty much. Yeah. And just we got through that bottleneck, and then literally there was another one, and me and Wyatt jumped over this mud berm somehow and got by Jared, and we ended up being in first and second. I was like, this is crazy. And then I see the pit board that you guys say I'm in first. I was like, I'm actually, there's not, Bryson and Walker didn't get through. You know, they should have been minutes ahead if they got through, but they didn't.
And that whole day was chaos because I remember you pulled the whole shot, right?
Yeah.
So you pulled the whole shot, and then Kara and I were down in the woods somewhere the first lap or second lap, and you went from leading and somehow went back to like 8th or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I missed 2 corners in the field. Like, I didn't miss them. I slid through them, like, just blew the corners and had to, like, 360 out of it or something.
So at that point, we were like, what the heck's going on? What's he doing? We're like, I guess it's basically a salvage day, get back to the top 5, maybe a podium. And then, like, a couple, I don't know, lap, whatever it may be, a couple of times we saw you later, you're back into the lead, and then you're, like, second, and then you're back in the lead. I was like, the heart rate up and down all day long. So that was pretty crazy.
Yeah. That was pretty wild. I mean, it was definitely a good year. It was a fun year, and having everybody there, like I said, man, it just makes it so much more fun for me to be out there and putting in, you know, the work and the weekdays to make sure everyone has a good weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I like that stress of performing.
Yeah. It's a good pressure.
Yeah. So what else do we want to talk about on this here podcast? It's only about 50 minutes long right now.
Yeah, what do we want to talk about? You remember the first time we ever met? You remember
Was
that?
it Florida?
It was. I was
you
thinking
broke your
about this. No, it was a ways before that. That was a rough one. But I was thinking about this on the way here. So I was like, what are we going to talk about? It was Yadkinville. Yadkinville, I was 11 or 12. I think it was my first race. I don't think I was even old enough to race the front row. But I just got a Cobra, so we went. And I think it might have been the year you won your championship or the year before you won your championship.
Okay.
So we raced super mini at the time. And obviously, I think you're a couple years older than me. So we raced. I think you might have won the championship that year, like I said. And then afterwards, I was like walking down to because they had that crazy creek jump. Remember that? The big drop there.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who you were. It might have been JD Welch. You and JD Welch. And you guys come over and like introduce yourself or whatever. And then we went. And I think we got like, remember the Parts Unlimited dinner we used to go to like every time?
Yep.
I think we went to one of those. We went and watched the creek jump, then went to that or something. And I was thinking about that. I was like, man, that's crazy. That was whatever year that would have been. What year was that? 2008?
2008 is when I won my championship.
Something like that. So yeah, freaking long time ago. 16 years ago?
Yeah,
almost 17? Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
We've known each other. We haven't killed each other.
So it goes back a long ways.
Yeah. And, you know, we had some time apart, but we always came back together and always hung out and made it down to fast tracks as many times as I could when I turned 16, 17, 18.
Yeah,
Got
16 when you were driving that the old Chevy, wasn't it?
Yeah, the old brown Chevy.
Yep, I remember that thing with the carb YFZ.
Yep. Yeah, so it's been a long time, and oh man, a lot of good times. We have so many stories that we probably couldn't tell.
Can't tell on here. Yeah, we gotta keep it PG.
So,
but there is a lot of fun times for sure.
From snowshoe to
Durham Town.
Matt,
if you're watching, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
we'll keep that one quiet.
Only a couple guys know that story. I almost killed Levi that weekend.
But no, there's been a lot of good trips, a lot of good memories throughout the years. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot we could talk about.
Yeah. What's your prediction for 2025?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Is that a good question or not?
As far as what?
Top 10.
I don't think I can say that. I feel like if I put that out there right now, I'm going to get some guys looking at me sideways at the banquet.
That's
some
true.
guys, or then throughout the winter, next time I see him, like, hey, dude, I heard you said I was going to get 9th place.
That's a solid point.
And he's going to be mad at me, even though if he does go in the year and get 9th place, you know what I mean?
Very true. I guess we can't say that. Never mind.
I mean,
we'll just.
I'm going to waffle on that one a little bit. I'll let you go ahead if you want.
I'm good. I can't have people mad at me either.
All right. What about Pro-Am? We can talk Pro-Am.
Yeah, Pro-Am. Alex Thyman.
Do we talk about Grayson moving up?
Oh, yeah. So, guys, I am an ambassador for Power Mad. And my buddy Grayson, our buddy Grayson Eller, was hoping to stay back in Pro-Am. And I gave him a contract for Pro-Am and, you know, hoping to have him win the XC2 championship. And then I feel like it was Macy or someone talked to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, what? When did he get? Did he get top 15 2 years in a row? And I looked, and I was like, oh my gosh, he did. So Grayson Eller will be moving up to pro.
Yep.
And he was very devastated. Like,
Maybe not devastated, but let's say shocked.
yeah, shocked.
Yeah.
And that is, sadly, it is a rule if you get top 15. And sadly, Alex beat him this year.
Yep.
And he doesn't have to move up because
And
he got 16th the year before.
He's barely edged by because he went 16-13.
Yeah.
Or 16-14 or something like that. Yeah.
And I think they should combine the two, and that should be like
Average it out.
Yeah, 15-15, and
Yeah.
be like, all right, yeah, you should probably move up. Because it would be cool to have him and Grayson.
Yep.
And if Kenny moves up.
And I think, that aside, it would make the Pro-Am class racing a lot better.
The Pro-Am class? Oh, yeah, because they're dominating.
Those two, obviously there's other guys stick it in there every now and again and have good days, but those two are obviously the clear favorites.
Yep.
And now that Grayson's gone, who knows, anybody could step up and
Yeah, we
battle
have
Alex.
Braxton's going to be in there for a couple rounds. He's always good.
He's really good in the sand. But, I mean, Alex is just kind of the class of the field on paper.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
So,
I mean, the dude smokes me at fast tracks.
yeah, he's no slouch. But, I mean, it should be a good year. I mean, we'll have James back in the class, Alex Elioff back in the class, Jeremiah Wolf moving up. So that'll be good. And, I mean, like you said, Braxton's back, Alex is back. The Pro-Am class is going to be fast.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple fast guys in there, and I think, like you said, I agree. If Alex moved up, Braxton might dominate still, possibly.
Paul, I think, like, the sand races, yes.
Yeah, the southern rounds,
But
maybe.
I think when they get in the harder, more technical stuff towards us, there's going to be a lot of those guys. Like, I think a lot of them guys are going to really shine, especially in, like, the mud races. Like,
definitely. I agree with that.
Which you don't get a lot of that in California, so he's got an excuse why he's a little bit better in the sand than he is the mud, obviously. But he's getting better at it. At the beginning of the year, I mean, to be honest, it was pretty rough watching him ride some of these tracks, and by the end of the year, he was right there in the thick of it. So he progressed fast, which his race level and IQ he's going to. So if he keeps at it, he's going to get better and better. And
he's going to learn quick.
Yeah.
And I'm sure obviously he did this year, so now just topping that off, he's already probably one of the fastest guys out west.
If not the fastest. Yeah, I think he ended up second in the championship this year. But looking at most results and most days, he seems like he's the fastest guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there is breakdowns, what happened. I didn't really follow along with the works closely, but
I agree. He will be he'll be quick. And that's exciting though to have him come all the way out here and kind of show the West Coast guys, you guys are fast for your discipline, but there's a whole different discipline out here that even he had to start over. And sadly, I think he was on a 450 before 16 out there.
Probably. He's young, yeah.
Yeah, and when he raced in the youth class, he didn't do very good because he obviously, it's just terrain he wasn't used to. And then he comes back on a 450 and he's getting even faster. So very cool to just take all that knowledge and take it west. And all of his, I'm sure his friends and his competition are like, oh, how was it out there? How was Snowshoe? How was Iron Man?
And you
just
got
famous races, stuff like that.
You got to believe him coming here and doing all this is making him better out there.
Oh, for sure.
It's definitely not hindering him. I would say it's got to make a drastic increase in his speed and technicality levels going back west.
Oh, for sure. I 100% agree with that. I think as long as his, program's dialed that he can juggle that much is the only thing that would actually hurt him. But it seems like he's doing pretty good if he's almost winning the championship out there. And I think he got third or fourth.
He got third because Alex, Grayson, Braxton, James.
Okay.
Four.
Yep. So
I think Dylan.
I think five. That's better than I've ever done in Pro-Am class.
Yeah,
I think
me as well. Fifth was mine.
Fourth was mine. Yeah. And I moved up out of the class because the next year, a couple A guys would have smoked me.
You remember, this is funny. We'll go back real quick. Your first year in pro, what year would that have been?
I think it was my high school graduation year, 2012.
12. So do you remember I must have broke down that day or been hurt. I don't know why I wasn't racing. Or maybe it was even after the race. I don't remember. But I was sitting with Kara, I feel like I was standing at the finish line when you finished. I must have broke, but I was there with Kara, and you had a good day at Snowshoe that day for some I don't remember what place it was. It could have been a 5th. It could have been a 10th in pro. And Kara's like no joking. She was dead serious. She's like, I'm glad he finally got a whatever position it is you had to hit. She goes, because if not, he was going back to Pro-Am next year. She was straight faced, dead serious. Like,
I've never heard that.
And she might not even remember it, but I remember it to this day, her telling me that. And I was like, yep. And then obviously touching base on how far you've come. You're at pro, and your sister almost booted you back to the Pro-Am class, but now you won a race.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't show you how far you guys can go, I don't know what will.
Snowshoe had a lot of good times in there. I remember one race. It was actually when my sister and I raced in the morning race together. And I was on a 300 EX. She was in women's pro. And, you know, she was just starting to get, like, pretty good. Like, she clicked off a couple podiums, was feeling confident. And I thought, my whole family was like, okay, this is where she really starts to dominate. And Snowshoe comes around, and I pass her, and she's off the quad screaming like bloody murder. And I went right by her. And I didn't stop to see if she was okay or nothing. And at the end of the race, my buddy Steve come up to me and was like, hey, they took your sister to the hospital. She broke her collarbone. I was like, yeah, I know.
remember that. Yeah.
I saw her out there. And they're like, you did? And I was like, yeah. They're like, yeah, I guess it was pretty bad, but she's on her way. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just go to the motorhome and hang out until they get back.
She doesn't cuss you out when you see her.
Yeah.
Spending mud on her as she's laying there with a broken collarbone.
Man, that 300X was the ticket back then. You catch a bottleneck at Snowshoe, and I had literally it normally was a handle.
Didn't they? Yeah,
they normally had a handle, but I had a button, and I just had to hit the gas and put it under first gear.
I don't remember how it went, something like that. And they hit the rev limiter at like 20 RPMs in reverse. You look at the throttle and it's it's on the rev limiter.
That thing was so much fun.
And you're lucky you did have reverse, because if you had to move one of them things, they weighed about as much as my pickup truck out front, if not more.
I think I graduated high school. That obviously I turned pro at 18. So I think I was like 150 pounds at most. Yeah. And was skin and bones pretty much. So there was no lifting that four-wheeler ever.
So I do know some predictions we can make, and I think it'll make you excited to talk about.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm going to have to guess for dirt bikes.
Yeah, KR557 coming back. What do we think about that?
That's crazy. I knew that. I love it. Obviously, I'm a huge KR557 fan. Yep. Caleb Russell's the man.
There's a signed poster really right there, right? You guys can't see it, but it's right there.
Yeah, there's a poster literally in the other room with him, and then right below it's Johnny Gallagher. I actually sent it to them the other day.
He's making a comeback too, 2027.
2027, Johnny Gallagher runs pro.
Just kidding, don't put that out there.
Wait, we should, though. Maybe we'll get him back on the four-wheeler, because, man, I do miss racing against him. Or just, riding. But, yeah, I think Caleb, man, it's going to be all about how much he wants it. I know the dude, he's the only reason I got podcast stuff, because, he had his little podcast for a while, and I'm like, that sounds like so much fun. I actually went on one of his podcasts, and I was like, that was a blast. And I love just talking and spreading the word of, Outlier Performance, or just racing in general, and
bench racing stuff.
Yeah, how I raced and how my weekend went and all that kind of stuff. So I've known him for, I don't know, when he was winning championships. Yep. And he was, he might not be like the nicest guy ever, but his confidence level just attracted me to him. And I'm like, dude, I got to be around this guy, because his confidence is off the chart. And like, he could be like a dick sometimes, but it comes off that way. But it's just him and his personality. And me and Macy, we wish we were more like that. Like, just throughout life, just confident in what we're saying and what we're doing. So, to be honest, like, I think it will all depend on how his first round goes.
Yeah, and like you were just saying before we get too far ahead, that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this, almost, with the borderline delusional self-confidence. Yes. And just knowing you're going to do something. Because, I mean, Caleb said it publicly, but even before he said it, he's not coming back if he doesn't think he can win. Caleb's not coming back to get 5th place.
No.
And I'm sure I'm not saying he's too nice because, like you said, he is kind of an asshole, but in a good way. He's not watching those guys during the week thinking, man, this guy's going to beat me when I come back to racing. He's watching them, and he's coming back and he's like, I can go as fast as this guy.
Yep.
I can dig harder. I can go longer. I can win these races. So, I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited, and I hope I've told him the last, what has it been, his 3...
He's been gone 4 years.
4 years? Yeah. I think he left 4 championships on the table.
Yeah.
I will say that. I've literally said it to 2 of the championship winners via phone, obviously. I wouldn't say that to their face.
I heard the story. Yeah. Johnny told me.
Yeah, Johnny. I called Johnny Gallagher and Caleb answers because they were in the truck, and it was him and undisclosed.
You're not going to say who? You're not going to say who it was? He doesn't care.
It was Craig DeLong.
Craig's a good guy. But yeah.
And he's like, there's no way I would have beat, the champion this year. I'm like, who the fuck was the champion anyways?
And didn't you say like Ben Kelly or something?
Yeah. and he was sitting in the back of the back seat of the truck, and they just started busting out laughing, and I'm like,
well, yeah, didn't you double down?
Oh yeah.
Johnny said you doubled down on it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's how much confidence I have for Caleb's confidence.
Yeah. Caleb's instilled his confidence in you, like the hype man.
So I just absolutely love the confidence level and just the vibe he puts off.
Yeah.
Of if I'm lining up, I'm gonna win, and I'm hoping that is what I'm gonna be having go through my head. Coming into this next year. But yeah, I think if he can come out and dominate round 1, they're done. They are absolutely finished. I think some of the guys might pressure him.
Johnny Gerard, when he's top shape, that guy's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And even prime Ben Kelly a couple years ago before he did his leg or legs, I don't remember which knee or whatever happened. I think that's what made Caleb nervous originally was Ben.
Yeah, that's 100%.
And then I think he's seen Ben having, not say his troubles, but not being the guy they expected Ben to be, which he could still be that guy. He's not aged out, but yeah, I don't know. And on the other hand, I think if you asked all of those guys, they might tell you they're not worried about Caleb. If you hooked them up to a lie detector test, every one of those is going to ring red that they're worried about Caleb Russell coming back.
The thing is I know Johnny Gerard is going to have a fire under his butt at Caleb, and that's going to hurt him. I think Caleb's going to play that into his hands. And obviously, Caleb trained these guys. Mm-hmm. He knows their weaknesses. He knows their strengths. And he can literally pick all of them apart throughout the year.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm just interested to see how the age plays a factor, which Caleb's not old per se, but he's 35, somewhere in there. I'm guessing 34, 35. So, I mean, he's definitely not old by any means. But in racing standard, he's old.
Yeah.
So if he still has that,
of what Eli Tomac just said, and if you look at the classes nowadays, vet class is literally pro class nowadays.
Yeah, but it's 31 compared to 34.
That's true.
And if you're asking me, I think he's fine. Yeah. But it's just if he still has that like initial dig and dog, as Grayson says, in him.
Yep.
I mean, I don't. If I had to put money down right now, it's all going on Caleb.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think he's got these guys shaking in their boots, and I love it. I might actually stay for a Sunday race now.
Yeah, maybe.
Just to watch, because normally, like, since he quit, the last, 4 years, I think I've watched, 2 or 3 dirt bike races, and when Caleb was racing, I would stay, 3 times, 4 times a year, just to, it sucks staying all Sunday.
It's a lot. Yeah, I'm glad we don't race Sundays.
It's a long day, especially their race is 3 hours long. I don't think I've ever made it to the finish of a 3-hour race because I'll watch them the first 2 or 3 laps and be like, okay, we can be home by the time they're done racing still.
Yeah.
So, it's tough, but yeah, I'm excited. It should be fun. I think, like you said, Johnny Gerard, and I'm sure Stewart will be challenging him. Craig.
Yeah.
I just don't see. I don't see any of the younger guys.
There's really no. But who is younger in the dirt bike pro class?
Did the guy move up that won the championship? Is he gonna move up or no?
No, he's staying. Grant. Yeah, I think he's staying. And
Okay.
I haven't seen anything. I think I texted Johnny about it, but didn't really get much back. He got hurt at Ironman. He raced that 252 stroke, and he crashed and did something. I don't know if it was a knee, hip, something lower, because they were carrying him.
Oh, geez.
So I don't know how that's going. But Liam Draper did move up. He moved up mid-season, and he podiumed every single race once he moved up. So that'll be a good one. And that's
That's
Caleb's
sweet.
teammate, so he'll be getting to watch Caleb, and if
Yeah.
nothing else, make him better, I would assume.
Well, that'll be good for Caleb, though, because then he'll
Having
be like,
that to
okay.
base off of.
Yeah, I'd be like, all right, I know this guy's a podium guy, so as long as I can keep up with him or, be faster than him secretly,
Yeah.
I'm good to go. So
Yeah.
it should be interesting, man. It'll be a fun year all the way around. I think the competition in ATV and in dirt bikes is still, we talk about it every year, it's leveling up.
Yeah.
Everybody, like back in the day, I was like, all right, I put in more work than last year. I should be good. And I end up getting the same exact spot.
Yep.
These kids, like some of the guys we know, they're like, next year's my year. But they are starting, they're just getting their fire under their butt when it takes multiple years to get to that next level because you're behind.
Yep.
And I think through ATV and motorcycles, I think everyone is starting, I think it's that time of the year, banquets tonight. Everyone's getting that fire under them and they're like, okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, but they got to keep that locked in. A lot of motivation's easy to come by in short spurts, but it's the bad days where you got to hold on to it and be like, remember why you're doing this.
Consistency. So what we talked about.
Yep.
It don't matter. Motivation is good.
But it goes as quick as it comes.
Good for a day, good for an hour, good for
Yep.
going to bed. But when that alarm goes off in the morning and you can't get out of bed, it don't freaking matter because that other guy might be.
Yeah, and you can have somebody preaching it to you, whether it's your mom, your dad, your trainer, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever it may be, yelling in your ear, your mechanic, and they can get you hyped up in the moment. But if you don't want it actually deep down, then there's no point in it. And it's like the mental goes so far in this sport. So if you're not mentally strong and you don't believe, because there's some of like the fastest racers out there who some of you guys don't even know who they are, because during the week they go so fast, and then on the race week they just can't put it together. They don't, like, they get out there and something bad happens and then they crap to bed and they're in 10th place and they just cruise there. So if you're headstrong, everything's going to follow.
Definitely.
Obviously you can be a little bit delusional. You can be like a C-class racer, like, I'm going to go win this overall. That's not going to happen. But you got to be realistic. And, that's what I got to say about that.
Definitely.
So do you got any, going into this year, if you had to have like a wild card, a hot take of a four-wheeler guy who might come out of nowhere, people don't know, who's going to do something good, what would you got?
I would
names
have
you
to
think?
say the only person that comes to mind is someone that you train, Jeremiah Wolf.
Yep, I was going to
Moving
say
up
the
to
same thing.
Pro-Am,
Yep.
I think he will be a strong racer. I think he will mix it up in some rounds, like maybe the muddier races. Even though he says he struggles in the mud,
He says he hates the mud, but he's so good in it.
he's so good.
I think it just comes from his dad. You don't have a choice. He has to be.
Yeah. Luckily, he doesn't live too far from me, so I
Yeah.
get to ride with him. He's like, yeah, my dad made the track, and I could tell after the practice lap, the site lap we did. I was like, yep, this is a Brian Wolf track for sure. And not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it is the gnarliest, the toughest, up and downs, through a creek, like something where you normally a practice track, you don't want to get dirty. You don't want to have a lot of risk.
Nope, that's not on Brian's mind at all.
No, that's not on Brian's mind.
And he probably thinks that's like casual. When you're like, this is terrible, I'm going to die out here. He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
like,
he'd
my
be putting
daughter just
sprint
rode
lights.
300EX around here. She's fine.
Yep, 100%. And so I think he's going to do really, really good this year. I don't know if he's going to win the class, but he will learn a lot. He'll have good races. He'll
be on
have
the
bad
podium.
races.
Yep.
But for his first year in Pro-Am, I think he's going to definitely turn some heads
Yeah.
for the future. And I
he
see him possibly being one of few kids that want to make it to pro, like that want to put in the work.
That's definitely his goal. And he is really ain't been racing that long.
No?
And no. What was
Did
it?
he do youth, or did
No,
he
he
just
never.
do the
He didn't race
250?
youth. Maybe A works, but at GNCC, he never raced any youth.
Yep.
That I can remember. And then I know Matt either built him or refreshed a 250 for him.
Yep.
And even when he was racing schoolboy, though, because I remember the funny Brian Wolf story. This was back in because we had that we pitted with Brian for a couple years. He pitted with us in our trailer, and one of them he was signing Jeremiah up, and he's like, "Yeah, he's too young to ride schoolboy, so he's going to ride Sportsman AB." I was like, "Brian, that's a 16 plus class." He's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. They let him sign up." So we go start the next morning, and you got little Jeremiah, and
On a
he's
250.
He's on his 250 hybrid in the Sportsman AB class with all grown men. And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it makes sense."
Yeah, that's
so,
definitely something that they would do.
Yeah.
I love it
But-
though. And I agree. I think the rule nowadays of 16 years is absolutely crazy because these kids are eating Chick-fil-A and they're growing to 6
Yeah.
foot tall by their 14th birthday.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're full grown. Like
I mean, the skill sets is just like ramping so drastically now from like, we didn't have it when we were in youth, but like the CRF hybrids into the
Yep.
250 hybrids, and the kids are riding 450 so early now. There's like 13-year-olds. I mean, at Action Camp this year, how many young kids were hopping on 450s and like not just riding them, but going fast?
putting fast lap times down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the progression rates when you can get doing things like that is crazy how drastic it can change compared to like where we were. So,
Yeah.
the
I
pace
feel
is
like
just
we
going
were
to
a
keep
lot
getting
smaller.
faster. Yeah.
Like look at us as kids and we were twigs, and
Yeah.
now looking at like, I just say like when we met Junior,
Yeah.
John Galata Jr., he was that tall, lengthy kid. Yeah, he was skin and bones, but he was 6 foot when he was on
Yeah,
a
when he's like 12.
150.
Yeah. And it's the same with Landon. Landon's 12. I mean, he's pretty tall. And then you got
Smallwoods.
the Hancock boys, the Smallwoods.
Yep.
Shout out our friend Viper
Yep.
in Redwood. Yeah, those guys. And then there's another group of fast youth kids I was thinking of. I'm sorry, the name's falling off my head. But yeah, so many kids are going so fast now. And hopefully that continues into like 5-10 years down the road. We got a fresh group of pro riders. 'Cause
Yeah, let's hope so.
it's been a long time since you see any new kids cycle into pro.
Well, that's the
Ronnie and
scary thing.
Steven,
Like
yeah.
we were talking about it earlier. 50% of the class is over 30,
Yeah.
and at some point we're gonna go. you
And
know?
I mean, quite a handful of them 40 or pushing it.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's an old class.
I can't believe some of them are still racing.
Yeah.
Like it's like I feel my body how it is, and those guys probably
Yeah.
raced 250Rs and had no suspension at all.
Yeah.
They had the best front ends ever. I don't care. Their suspension sucked.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what their bodies feel like, especially just the training aspect and the day-to-day week riding.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how like Chris and Adam and Jared, like not saying that
Yeah.
they're old, but they're
Older.
older and they've been on a 4-wheeler 90% of their
Yeah.
lives.
And that is one thing I think works out for Adam more so than the others. He still races a lot.
Yep.
So he's at a local a lot of times 2 days a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, an object in motion stays in motion.
Definitely.
And his training seems good. His diet's good. So, I mean, I think that's what helps Adam quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. And so, yeah, we definitely need a new wave to come in, and maybe like I'll be the old guy and Walker, like, which is a year older than me.
Which
will
is
be the
crazy
old
to
guy.
think about. Walker seems I think it's because maybe we looked up to him for so long as kids. He seems so much older than you than 1 year.
Yeah. He's always been exactly 1 year older than me
Yeah.
and like a class ahead of me. But I'm like, man, this dude is like the fastest of the fast. And actually had a conversation with him, and it's funny. Like he put it away where he's like, wow, you're kind of like, he said this to me. He's like, you're kind of like Johnny Gallagher. You hit 30 and then you started trying. He's like, I started trying at 16, but now it is wearing on him like he
Where
is.
you guys are like meeting in the middle.
Yeah, so we're meeting in the middle. Like he's kind of falling back a little bit, and I'm still moving forward. So it's like you can take two different paths. I would rather take his if I had to redo it. And I think because obviously he has the most amount of wins and championships, and probably made a boatload of money racing a 4-wheeler, and how many good times. But you know, I can't say anything bad about my upbringing through racing. Like I had a lot of lessons learned. I had I'm not gonna lie, I probably had way more fun than him.
Yeah, it was probably. I mean,
Hanging out with
let's be
you.
honest, we have had a lot of fun along the years. We're just missing some of the wins.
Yeah,
What was it you told Walker after your first one? What was it, like 70 to go or 69 to go or something? Yeah.
Yep. And it's just like, we had a lot of good times, and I'm sure he didn't get that. I'm sure he was in bed by 9. I'm sure he was doing everything you should be doing. But like, I have the memories and the just like, I mean, I worked too a lot of my 16 to now life.
Yep.
And I think his work was racing, so it's just like you got to give something to get something. And
exactly, yeah. And yeah, like you just mentioned about Johnny. Johnny was 37, I think, when he won his first race, right?
Yeah.
30. I mean, so that goes back Caleb being 34, and when you look at that, that doesn't really that bad.
No.
I mean, theoretically, Johnny won his first race until 3 more years after Caleb's come back.
I think Johnny was in the best shape of his life at 36.
He told, when we were talking last night or yesterday, he sent me this message about, I can't remember which year it was, but he was like, I was the fittest I've ever been at this age, and it was 36, 37, whatever it may have been. So I mean, that shows you guys it might take you. And he even said in the text, he's like, it took me a lot harder to get there than if I would have done it at 20 or 25 or even 30. But you put in the work, you can make it happen.
I think everybody has their time, and you just have to capitalize on it. And sadly, hard lessons will come beforehand or afterhand, depending on which route you go. And I think everybody just needs to keep moving forward, and you'll be, everything will work out if you put in the work. So I think we're going to end it there, hour 21 minutes. I appreciate you.
I got one question for you before we go.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
This is a fun one, though. One will end it. If you could go back, say, 18-year-old Josh, 16-year-old Josh, we'll say 16, and ride any pro four-wheeler throughout the years, you got it, you can race it for a season, it's prepped by their mechanic, what bike would you go with?
I would definitely ride Chris Borch's Suzuki's back in the day.
2010 Chris Borch LTR. That's what I was going to say.
Even up to 2014, I've been watching the Racer TVs. Like 2014 when him and Walker battled for the championship and he ends up winning it. Yeah. The Suzuki just looked freaking beautiful.
You know what I expected you to say?
What's that?
Chris Bithell LTR.
LTR.
Or DS 450. Chris Bithell
right
edition.
I mean, it would probably be very similar to CB's bike, Chris Borch's bike, but
we know Bithell's your boy.
Bithell is my boy. I love you, big dog. I doubt he listens to this, but All right. Well,
Josh, thank you for having me.
No problem, buddy. Thanks for being on.
I look forward to a great year, great winter ahead, great time tonight with you guys, with Wyatt, everybody. Thank you for everything you've done throughout the years, for helping me out. Thanks for putting the effort in. Makes it a joy to work with guys like you, Wyatt, Kenny, Alex, Jerry, everybody who actually puts in the work. James, when he does. James, you know what I'm talking about. But, so thanks for having me, buddy.
No problem. Thank you for being on, and thank you for pushing me to be best I can be.
And thanks for Macy getting the spare room all ready for me and let me hang out with the puppies and here for a couple days whenever I come by.
Any day you want to come up, we'll be here for you. But all right, peace out, everybody. Love you. Bye.